Well, good evening, and I want to welcome you to this week's episode of the Fireplace Show. And the Fireplace Show is our show that we is sponsored by CBC Success Group. And what it's all about is it's the answer the burning questions of consumers about their fireplaces, their wood stoves, their gas logs, their chimney, or so many other things. Now, to identify who we are a coaching and consulting group. We are trainers. We do not service consumers of America, and we don't sell products. So, what we try to bring from you is an opinion that is not affected in any financial gain for us. Our sole purpose is to share great information with the consumers of America. So, we're going to play the intro music. We'll be back in just a few seconds, and we'll get started with tonight's big question that was sent in by a consumer this week. So, what's this week's burning question? Here's what it was. A consumer sent me a note via email, and my email address is right there on the screen. If I can answer similar questions for you, be glad to do it. Keep in mind, I don't sell these products, so there is no financial gain with me helping you. What I'm trying to do is share helpful information with you. So, here was the question. And it was directed as such. Jerry, I just bought a brand new wood stove a couple months ago. I put it in my home, and he gave me the brand of the stove. And I will tell you that it's a very well built, very well designed stove by one of the leading manufacturers. And he told me how big his house was, and it was about 1,200 square feet. And the stove that he had selected, it definitely had the power to heat this home. So what he said was, Jerry, it's just not heating my house. What am I doing wrong, and how do I get better? Well, the first thing I always do is refer someone to a local subject matter expert, someone who's certified by the proper organizations, which could be the National Fireplace Institute, it could be the Chimney Safety Institute of America, it could be the Certified Chimney Professional Program through the National Chimney Sweep Guild. I also advise to always check the Google reviews, those type of things for the company. But as I went into this and I did a little research and asked him a few questions back, and it's like, hey, I think I got your answers for it. So there's a couple different things that I advise this consumer to look at in his home, and we're going to go over it. And the first is the quality of his fuel. And this is really important because firewood should actually have a moisture reading of between 15 and 20%. And if it's higher than that, then you're going to use up a whole lot of energy just drying out your fuel. Now, with me tonight, I got a couple little tools I want to show you, and this is what we call a moisture meter. So what the moisture meter does, we can actually take these two little prongs, stick it into the wood a little ways, and we can actually take a moisture reading on the wood. So the first thing that you got to have is a good fuel. Hardwood is going to be good, but any wood is good. Often we get asked, what's the best kind of wood to use? And the real answer there is the free stuff. Okay, but people think that pine is bad, or you got to have seasoned oak or whatever, which is actually untrue. A pound of wood is a pound of wood. Now, the softwoods, the pines, those type of things, they are going to burn up much more rapidly, and it's all about the poundage of the fuel. And every pound of wood, no matter what kind it is, contains approximately the same amount of BTUs. So that's the first thing to be looking at is the quality of your fuel, and it's properly seasoned and dried out. And you're not going to cut firewood down today and it's going to be ready to burn next week. It's going to take months of drying out time to get it right. You've also got to store it properly, keeping it out of the rain, keeping it covered, and where the air can flow through to cure out that firewood. So the first thing is make sure you got great fuel. The next thing that comes into play is the venting system. In today's world, today's wood stoves are high performance appliances. And what I mean by that, they have a capability of giving you significant heat output. But just like with a gasoline engine on your car, a lot of that is going to depend on the exhaust system. So what you got to have is you got to have a venting system, and this includes your chimney and your stovepipe that's going to be able to maintain the temperature of those flue gases. If the flue gases should drop in temperature during their travel, they're going to get sluggish. They're not going to rise as well. And what's going to happen is you're going to suffer poor performance. Now, if it's a masonry chimney and it's on the outside of the home, on the outside wall, it's going to be really hard to do that. And if you have that situation, many times what you're going to need to do is you need to run a new lining system inside of that chimney. And the lining system should be insulated. And the reason it is insulated so we can maintain the temperatures inside of that wood stove during their entire travel. Because if they do cool, they're not going to rise as fast. And if they don't rise as fast, what's going to happen from there? Those gases are not going to go out the top of the chimney. You're going to get sluggish performance, and your burn is not going to be that good, and you're going to not be a happy camper with this brand new wood stove. So that's a couple things about the stove itself. Also, if it's a freestanding stove, it should be installed with a double wall insulated pipe. Now, the double wall insulated pipe also is going to be able to be closer to the wall. The outside temperature is going to be cooler, but what it's going to do is it's going to help keep those flue gases hotter during their travel to get into the chimney. We also want to look for any obstructions in the system, anything that could cause turbulence. And one of these is when the smoke has to bend and go through an elbow and those type of things. Because what that does, that causes turbulence. And when we have turbulence in the smoke flow, what that's going to do, it's also going to cool down those flue gases. So it's going to affect that. You need to have a way to read the temperature. There are interior stovepipe thermometers that actually you can drill a hole and measure the interior temperature of your smoke as it goes through the pipe. If that smoke cools excessively, you're going to have a problem. You see, in today's high performance wood burning stoves, one of the things that they do is they're designed to get all the heat out of the unit possible. So what that means is we have a venting system that when the smoke enters it is a lot cooler than it used to be. And so this is going on. So in today's wood stoves, it's of utmost importance that if you have a high performance appliance, you need a high performance venting system to vent that unit properly. So that's two of the things we need to cover. Now, there's another thing that comes into play. Many times the stove is producing heat, but what we're having here is the heat is escaping from the house. And this is something that we call stack effect. And what stack effect? That's when the air rises, and as it's rising, it will actually find the leaks on the upper level of the home, on the ceiling, could be through your attic access door, it could be through leaky windows, it could even be through electrical outlets. But there's all kinds of ways that we're going to lose the heat that we produce with the wood stove if we have temperatures, if we have our air is rising up and it can escape out of the home. If that's happening, you're going to have a very cool home, even though you're making heat. And it's not the appliance's fault. It goes down to the house itself. Now, I'm going to show you a couple little things that professionals use to diagnose these problems. This is an infrared thermometer. And an infrared thermometer is green, so it looks like it's clear up here because I'm on a green screen. So the infrared thermometer, it has a trigger on it. And when I press the trigger, I'm going to monitor the temperature of a wall. Like I'm shining this right now at the floor down there, and I've got a temperature on that floor of approximately 74 degrees down there. But it's going to read my temperature wherever that laser beam points at. It's going to read the temperature there. So that's one tool that we use. Another tool that can be used is an infrared camera. And what does an infrared camera do? It actually looks at the walls and you can see the temperature change based on the colors that come up on this screen. And these devices are capable of measuring down to 1/10 of a degree. So with an infrared camera, what do? We can walk around the house. We can actually look and shoot the stove, the walls on this side, and we can actually look at our screen on this side, and we can see where the temperatures are getting hotter and they're getting cooler, because as that air escape, it's going to show a temperature change. Now, other things that the pros use, this is called a manometer. And what a manometer does, this is measuring air pressures. Now, what we're measuring air pressures in is a unit of measurement called a Pascal. And Pascal is a unit of measurement that was founded by a gentleman by the name of Blaise Pascal many, many years ago. And a Pascal is an extremely minute measurement. So what we're looking at here is differences of just a few Pascal points and when we see these drops. And if this is going on, what can happen, the manometer can realize the pressure difference. Well, the pressure is part of what the air movement is going on, is the pressure that's in the home. So we can read this very minute amounts, and it doesn't take a lot for this to happen. You would be shocked how much air can escape through an attic hatch door that's in the living quarters, where you would go up and open a bedroom closet or wherever on the upper level, and you have one of them little push-up pieces of plywood in your attic. It's amazing. That's not airtight. How much can escape through there, and all these other areas. Now, there's other things to look at also, and a lot of it's going to depend is when you're buying stoves, is it a radiant wood stove or is it a convective wood stove? Now, if you don't know what the difference in those two things are, I'm going to tell you what it is. What a radiant wood stove does is radiate heat from the appliance, and the radiant heat goes directly through the air. What does a radiant heater heat? It heats objects, and then the objects warm the room with the heat that they've absorbed. Now, we also have what's called a convective appliance. Now, this can also be called a circulator. And when we have a convective appliance, what we're looking at here is we have a wood stove that has air channels on the outside walls. So what's happening in these air channels is the air goes through these channels, and as it rises up, as it goes through the channel, it's heated, and then it's expelled in the room. Such as, I'm going to move over, you can see the stove that's in the background behind me. This is a convective unit here that is double walled on the top, on the rears, on the side, that's moving all things through there. So, but this is just some little general information. Mr. Gann, it is good to see you aboard. As always, thank you for your compliments, sir, and I wish you a very Merry Christmas also, my friend. Hope your world is good. So, anyway, these are all the things that you need to know about a wood stove. Now, again, if you're having problems, many times you need to get a specialist in to look at these appliances and give you an opinion. And when you want to go find these people that can help you, there's a couple different organizations that do certification that I would highly recommend that this would be your search. One is the National Fireplace Institute, and that is www.nficertified.com or .org. So when you go there, you're going to find people that are certified in gas, in pellet, and in wood appliances, and in hearth design. So what you can do is look for a person who is certified under the NFI certified label. Another place to look is what we call the CCP, which is the Certified Chimney Professional, and that is a part of the National Chimney Sweep Guild. Okay, so the National Chimney Sweep Guild, you can actually look up a CCP certified person, and their website is www.ncsg.org. Okay, and you can go there and get help. Okay, another place to go is the Chimney Safety Institute of America. They are also a great organization that can also assist you in providing a good, competent person for you to search for. And their website is www.csi.org. These are all great organizations. And to be honest with you, I'm very proud to say that I've served on the boards of all of these. And in fact, I served as the president of the National Chimney Sweep Guild and the Chimney Safety Institute in earlier times in my career. So anyway, this was to address a question that came in from a consumer. And here's our invitation to you. We do this show to answer consumers' burning questions. So if you got a question about your fireplace, about your wood stove, about your gas logs, about problems you're having, you can see my email address right there on the screen right now. And I welcome you to send your questions in to me. And what we'll do is, hey, we will answer them live on the air, just like we're doing now. And the purpose we do this is to answer the burning questions that consumers may have about their wood stoves, their fireplaces, their gas logs, whatever that appliance is in the home. And if I can't answer the question, you know what? I got a lot of friends that I consider to be subject matter experts, and I'll get them on this show with me, and we'll try to help you answer the burning issues that you have with your home and your wood burning, gas burning, pellet burning appliances. And with that, we're going to end tonight's episode of the Fireplace Show. Again, this is sponsored by the CBC Success Group, and it's all about helping the consumers of America to enjoy their fireplaces, their hearth appliances to a higher level. Appreciate you joining me tonight, and we'll look forward to you joining us on a future episode. Talk to you later.